I said, I don't care what you do. I don't care what your profession is. You're in sales.
Yep, exactly.
Whether you're selling a product, whether you're selling yourself as an employee to your employer, everything is sales.
Yep.
And you have to figure out a way to make whatever you're selling valuable to someone else.
Yep.
Right.
And people like to buy, they don't like to be sold. You know what I mean? So while you are selling, it's not, are you ready to buy, sell, rent, invest every single day like that? Nobody wants to hear that every single day. You want people to subliminally know that's what you do as a realtor, but just giving them insights into the day-to-day walkthroughs and closings and business meetings and
is that some of the consultations you guys do with some businesses that don't have that?
Yeah, we do.
Welcome to the podcast dedicated to real estate, insurance, and building your business. Join us as we take you along our own business building journeys with additional wisdom from our network of local and national experts. Welcome to Bricks and Risk. This episode is brought to you by Premium Finance Brokerage. Premium Finance Brokerage offers a high-touch, specialized lending experience coupled with cutting-edge technology. Stuart and his team can be reached at premiumfinancebrokerage.com or at 866-381-6501. Sean, you've been partnered with Stuart for years. Why is that valuable to you and your business?
Stuart and his team, they have a tagline that says global reach, local touch. And that really sums up the best parts of PFB. They have access to all the banking options that's going to get you the best rate. But the local touch, which is customer service for our agency, they're going to go above and beyond and offer that white glove service that you're not going to get anywhere else.
I love it. If you want to reach out to Stuart, information below. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Bricks and Risk. I'm Tim Garrity.
And I'm Sean Mooney.
Today, Sean, we have another duo. We have good friends of ours. We have Josh Buchter and Beth Williams. How are you doing today, guys?
Very
Fantastic.
good.
It's great to be here. Thank you so
Happy
much.
to be here.
Thank you for being here.
Of course.
So Josh and Beth are co-owners of Wolf of Broad Street Real Estate Events and Consulting. So partners in business as well as in life, Josh and Beth keep busy hosting the hottest Philadelphia real estate industry networking events in the city. They represent select industry partners through their new marketing program called the WOBS Wolfpack, stands for Wolf of Broad Street. Their corporate event strategy abilities have allowed for diverse collaborations with local real estate brokerages, Fortune 500 companies, and everything in between. Avid world travelers and connectors, Josh and Beth live by the mantra, power moves only, and they are excited for what 2025 holds for them. Josh went to Fairleigh Dickinson University, and Beth went to Westchester University, which we were just talking about. What are you supposed to say?
Go Rams.
Go Rams.
Yeah,
There we go.
Rams.
All right. Cool. All right. Here's a good question.
I didn't even know that. I just pulled that off.
And I knew that, so I was going to pick you up if you messed it up.
On your toes.
So it's cool. All right. So here's a question. So as world travelers, what's been your favorite spot together?
Thailand.
Is that
Yeah,
what you said?
I would say Thailand.
Yeah,
Nice.
we've been to
Is that
Thailand.
recent? Or-
The year before last, we went for our second time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. Nice.
So, and that time we actually went to Vietnam as well. I went to Thailand solo my first time, spent 17 days. Our first trip together was 23 days. Our second trip together was 53 days.
No way.
Yes.
What?
Wow. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
guys like
53
you guys like
days.
Thailand.
That's like half a year.
Yeah. We did Thailand. We did Vietnam. We went back to Thailand all in that one trip. We know we're going to go
Phenomenal.
back again this year, and we're going to try Cambodia and, a couple other places with that.
Hop around.
throughout
Is it a
the-
lot like Philadelphia?
The total opposite and just about as far as you can get, which we
far
like. Yeah.
That's incredible. All
Wait,
right.
what's the flight? Like 20 hours? Or like
It's,
Yeah, it's
It's like 24 hours. It's like you do like 16-hour flight and then an 8-hour flight and then layover. So it could be like 30 hours. It could be
we're
really
12 hours ahead in Thailand.
See, that's why you got to stay 50 days.
Yeah, you don't want to start around.
I got to get my jet lag off.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not trying to go home like this.
Yeah. But I took Beth to New Orleans and Vegas.
Well, world travelers.
Oh, world travelers.
Thailand's my favorite, but in the States, I got to say New Orleans.
Awesome.
Wait, what? So what's the draw with Thailand?
Yeah, I'd love to know.
You're like, oh my God, we need to come back and do more of this.
It's the land of the 13 smiles. I mean,
Very
Thailand
cool.
is just
the most friendly people.
Yeah.
You feel so safe. You don't have to worry about
the
anything.
language. What's
they
trouble there?
It's Thai. They speak Thai.
Of course, but you know, a lot of the Thai people speak a little bit of English, at least to get by, and there's translators and things like that we use on our apps.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just like such a beautiful, happy country. It's 9,000 miles away from Philly. You're 12 hours ahead.
I'm watching White Lotus. That's Thailand.
Yes, it is.
We love
I know that show. I haven't seen it.
Oh,
Is it
you
good?
have to watch it. It's great.
Yeah.
Solid?
It's like dark and quirky and like
Right up your alley.
right up my alley.
The last time we celebrated New Year's Eve in Bangkok, their capital city. So you got the huge cities, you got all beaches, you have countrysides and mountains and everything.
Wow.
People
A little bit
So
of
like
everything.
the remote spots, the city, you get like all of that.
Yep, and it's so cheap. That's
Oh,
that's
really?
a huge part of why like we love it.
love it.
Live like a
'Cause
king over there.
You live like a king over there.
absolutely.
The dollar goes far, and you can get places on domestic air for like $50. All over the country.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Nice.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And we're digital nomads, so
Yeah.
anywhere there's
Oh, yeah.
Wi-Fi.
Do it anywhere.
We're plugged in. So.
As long as you can text, talk, email,
Yep.
Yeah.
you get a signal, you're good, right?
Absolutely.
That's funny. So not to get too off topic, but for my 40th birthday, me and my two brothers went to Japan.
Oh, cool.
So we wanted to do something different. And of course, it was my turn turning 40 and I'm different. So I said, we're going to Asia for my 40th. And this was like a year and a half, 2 years before my actual birthday. And they're like, whoa. I'm like, well, would you do it? They're like, yeah. I was like, cool. I'll do the legwork. So I looked at Japan, China, and Singapore. I went probably a little bit more safe. I was like, give me like a bigger, well-known. I was looking for an urban environment, but just different than Philadelphia.
Yep.
And yeah, we landed in Tokyo. We did a week in Japan. We ended up taking a bullet train all the way over to Kyoto, which was kind of like the historic part of Japan. And it was like total opposite.
Yep.
Nicest people, cleanest place I've ever been.
Wow.
Fantastic food. Not cheap.
Right.
Japan is not cheap,
Yeah.
especially in the urban areas.
Yeah.
But it
We
was
gotta
fun.
check it out.
I saw a stat that there's American obesity is like 42%, and in Japan it's like 4.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
That's like
Wow.
Well, I will say, and one thing about Japan too, is that I'm going to say the high majority, like 95, 97% are Japanese. So it's very cultural, like people stay, it's generational.
Yep.
They're into well-being, they're into health, long life. I remember even just like flying over there, like, a lot of the Japanese passengers were literally just like walking around the plane the whole, like keeping their legs moving.
Oh, yeah.
And us fat Americans are like sitting in our seats. We're like, yeah, we'll take 2 more of those.
Yeah.
We got free wine. Cool. We'll take 3.
Can you deep fry that?
The first time we went to Southeast Asia, it was during COVID, believe it or not. Like we had to get all these vaccines and the documents, Thailand passes, like very limited number that you can get it. We qualified for everything. We made it. It was like pretty quiet, which was cool for travel. But on the way back, we had a layover
In Japan. 12-hour layover.
and you couldn't step outside. You couldn't leave the terminal.
Still had to
You
wear
couldn't-
masks and
you still had
everything.
to wear masks.
The quarantine was so.
It was
It
crazy.
was like that
Regimented.
movie, like the
We were-
terminal, where it's just like,
Just
like
over
we got
time
drunk,
was just
sobered up,
going.
got drunk, sobered up. And we were like, there was one place that you could eat and drink at, and they sold ramen noodles, hot dogs, and like
and
one
one
type of beer, and like that was it.
You're like, I'll take 3.
We're watching it snow.
One of
not
each,
snow.
please.
We're like, this is so crazy.
We could look out the window, but that's it. Yeah.
Oh, it's awesome. I love that. Thanks for sharing all that.
Yeah.
All right, so let's hop into some business here. So, the Wolf of Broad Street Wolfpack Directory.
Yep.
So it's a one-stop solution to connect with vetted, trusted service providers in Philly and like Bucks County, which is suburban area right outside of the city.
Yep.
So talk about the directory and why that has been a success for your business.
Absolutely. We've partnered with an excellent web developer called ShyBit Solutions.
Shout out ShyBit.
Shout out Josh Shy, who has built us, wolfpackdirectory.com, SEO optimized. We're representing 11 companies currently on the road to capping out at 100. We'll get there eventually. We've only been around since April of 2024.
Okay.
You know, really got warmed up in the summertime of last year. And yeah, we've identified partners who like to network, who come to our events, who may have a small marketing department or no marketing department at all. Some have medium-sized marketing departments, but basically our goal in representing our Wolfpack members is really just to be, you know, their backup, their boots on the ground for any marketing campaign or objectives that they're trying to achieve, whether it be digital marketing or video productions. They all get free tickets to every Wolf of Broad Street event.
Awesome.
Strategic introductions.
Yeah.
So
Can you give an example of someone that might come to you and say, hey, I need help with this, and then talk about like you finding them the solution?
absolutely. Take it.
I would say like someone that maybe like a roofing company, like a small boutique roofing company that's looking to get their name out there more, that they don't have the time or the resources to, you know, go in a full social media campaign or record videos and things like that, or looking to connect with more people in their, you know, their niche and their circle. So we step in, we say, we got you from here. We get them onboarded on, we get some content going for them. We invite them out to our events. We do strategic introductions. So like someone, I would say like a company like that, you know, most of our companies we work with now, they are like blue collared. We do have mortgage company represent, like, so it's,
And
it
what's
just varies.
what's their need? Like the roofing company is that they have no, there's nothing on social, nothing on the internet regarding marketing, and they,
or even if they do have a presence on social media, but it's not like they're not where they want to be with their
not their skill
numbers.
set.
Yeah,
They don't know
it's not
how to
their
do it
skill
well.
set. Exactly.
okay.
Yeah, all of
We're-
our partners are really good at what they do, and they're very reputable. They're the best in the business, but you know, they need some added help with the marketing, you know, and that's, you know, where we can come in, and we, you know, don't take on a client or a project, whether it be for the Wobbs Wolfpack or private clients for event planning needs and things like that. We don't take on a client or a project that we're not 100% that we can deliver on. So it's got to be a fit, you know, but it's so reasonable. Our pricing, you know, like it retails for $499 a month to be a Wolfpack member, and the first 30 clients get it for 50% off at $249.50 per month. That's
Which
where
is
we're
honored.
at, you know.
That's great.
So it's like, you know, it's a little bit of an investment, but it's not going to break the bank, and we're building this out.
That investment. So I'm just,
of course,
$250,
Yep.
take it over a year. Like that roofing company, if they get one deal out of
Pays
his
for the next
network,
year or 2 years.
Yeah.
Right.
that's an I don't know.
Yep.
That's an amazing investment.
I'll send you the contract. No, just
No, the insurance brokers is the newest member, folks.
But yeah, we have a lot of other value adds, like our Wolf of Broad Street LED billboard trucks that are running at all like the concerts and the big sport outings. You know, 70,000 people down at the link. You know, and you know our LED billboards are in the mix, and ad design included. Social media distribution of like custom made reels and stuff. Like it's all about guerrilla marketing for us. You know?
I got it.
Hold on.
All right, here we go. Don't say guerrilla marketing in the Mooney without getting a
that's my
15-minute long response.
Yes.
Not worry about his shirt today.
No,
Go ahead.
What I'm going to say is, talk me through, because great ideas, right? And this is how it works with us. Like I come up with something.
Yeah,
He
It's
does.
Yeah.
No,
Oh, yeah.
we're not doing that.
Yep.
He's
So
the
can-
idea guy, and I shoot the
Can you
stuff down.
talk about your two, like, have you had ideas where you're like, let's do this, and you're like this, or vice versa?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm the boss, but not.
Yeah. All right,
I
Beth.
call the shots.
Lay it down.
We each have our own ideas. Like obviously not every one of them are going to make sense, but this was an idea that came to us and we were like, we're kind of already doing this. Like now let's make money and monetize it and blow it up. So we're still building on it. Like there's a new idea that comes to us and we're like, let's put that in the Wolfpack. Like let's add
That's
this
cool.
to the program.
I know, but I
And-
need to hear a rejected one.
Oh, rejected.
he wants-
you wanted okay.
He wants a story where someone got
you
crapped
said,
on.
let's do this, and he's like,
Oh man.
no.
It happens all the time.
It does. I'm just trying to think of one that's a good example.
We can come.
It was like just today or yesterday where you kind of like
It was right before we walked into here.
Okay. So, the FNSBA meeting, we had the billboard truck outside and you wanted to put the logos of people we represent.
there was that. There's
Or what?
I can't think.
Like
Come back
Wolf
to
of
it.
Broad
Let me see.
Street hockey jersey on Billy Penn or something.
Right,
And then,
yeah.
like, no, we can't do that.
Well, here's one thing I got. I got two things out of what you guys just shared.
Yep.
for that roofer, for that insurance company, for that real estate agent, whoever it is, lender. The first is, I find that most either small business owners, whether you're blue collar, white collar, whatever, they just don't have that marketing skill set.
Right.
Not to the level of where you are.
Yep.
Because you guys have been doing, I mean, you've been hustling as long as I've known you, which is like 15 years.
Yep.
You've always been amazing at marketing.
Yep.
Beth, I see what you do, the combination. I mean, you guys are, you're growing, you're doing very well. So one, you just offer that like, one-on-one, reasonably priced marketing to the small business owner, let's say, whether you're in sales or whether you're tacking the roof on.
To your point, the roofer's good at putting the roof on the house.
Yeah. So that's the first thing.
Yep.
But the second thing I think is great, and you and I can relate to this because we've done the networking groups, and obviously, even Bricks and Risk is a networking thing. It's a connecting thing. So it's like you're taking that roofer, let's say, you're like, all right, not only are we going to give you a really good digital presence, like it's going to be professional, it's going to be consistent, like, it's going to be better than, unfortunately, what you're capable of doing because that's not your skill set.
Yep.
But I'm going to get you into these events multiple times a year. People already recognize your stuff now through us. Yep. Now you get to go shake all their hands and tell them why you're the best roofer in town.
Exactly.
Which is going to turn into additional stuff. So you got, you got the marketing, let's call it the cold marketing. You're throwing that marketing out there on social or a billboard. You're just trying to get eyeballs and people to look at you and be like, oh, let me check them out. Let me Google them real quick. Let me hit that QR code. Yep. But then you got the hand-to-hand combat.
Right.
Like with our happy hour, you're bringing people together because they're all good people. They're all like-minded. Yep. It's like, yo, I'm in the market for a roof. One of your members might want to talk to the roofer for personal reasons, or maybe the member is a realtor like me and says, I need a good roofer. Yep. Because I work with properties that need roof repair, new roofs. Yep. So there's two elements to what you're doing. You're giving the professionalism on the digital side, and then you're also bringing them together on the personal side.
Yep. It's, identifying the people that get it. Like your vibe attracts your tribe. Like our Wolfpack members are collaborating outside of us now. Like it's great to see, you know what I mean? Like putting together, different collaborations and events. And we're always, the glue, but it's just a beautiful thing to bring the right people together and grow it organically. We didn't want 100 clients in the first month. We wanted, 100 clients by the end of the year or into
organic.
next year.
Let it happen the way it's supposed to happen.
Yep, exactly.
That's awesome. Oh, good stuff, man.
Thank you.
All right. So I'm going to make this one about me. All right. So Josh and I have known each other for a decade and a half.
Yep.
So I was just getting started in real estate.
Yep.
So some history here. And you were hustling with credit repair back in the day. So I'm a small business owner and I'm an agent. Any realtor, I've mentioned this before, any realtor or real estate agent is a business owner. Like you own your business.
Facts.
Like you don't have a boss. Like you may get fed on a team or at a brokerage, but it's still your business. Like if you don't run it well, it's not going to do well.
Yep.
So you and I were just hustling and networking.
Yes.
'Cause that's the way both of us are.
Yep.
And that was in the wake of the Great Recession.
Right.
So this is like the market started to turn like 2006, 2007. In 2008 is really when everything crashed.
Yep.
So this is like 2010.
Yep.
And I lost my job. You're doing the credit repair and we've maintained our relationship. So what was it about getting into business back then and building your business on relationships? Like why were the relationships either like a natural fit or something that you learned over time?
It's always been huge, but initially in my first role in the Philly real estate industry in credit repair, it wasn't a lot about, I didn't have a lot of time to go out and network and build relationships. I did what I can. A lot of it was from my desk. I felt like I was chained to the desk because I was managing at times 300 clients a month on their credit files, doing free consultations, onboarding them as clients, collecting results, giving updates, collecting payments. Like I used to go from my desk and run outside. It was at 124 Chestnut Street and collect payments and results from people driving by, just running back and forth to my desk like that all day. You know what I mean? So it was a great experience. And that was was coming fresh off of college, graduated with a degree in finance, May of 2009. The last semester of college in my finance classes, all the professors could tell us was how screwed we were to be graduating at that time and expecting to get a job.
Time.
I was doing landscaping when I was searching Craigslist for a better opportunity, and that's where I found on Craigslist, big shout out to Craig, a job as a consultant for a small mom and pop credit repair company. The guy who was in my seat was leaving. He was helping to find the replacement. It was hard getting it rolling. You remember, like, back then, like, I moved from a Animal House style shore situation at Vetner. We broke the lease when November came around after this summer.
The South Jersey Shore, for those who do not know.
Exactly.
We're not talking about Central or North. That's a whole different thing.
I had to pick up. Moved to Philly. I was staying in my friend's side office on the second floor. The futon, when opened up, stretched from wall to wall. That's how small it was. Yep. I was paying $300 a month, and I was only getting paid $300 a week draw on commission. So I might not make more than $300. And if I, made less, I would have to make it up the next week. It was bad, but
just figuring it out,
and then I was able to hit the streets, a little bit more as I got tenured there, and then eventually went with another credit repair company called Better Qualified, which was awesome. And that was a business development role with a corporate credit card and a corporate automobile.
A little bit more
structured. Yeah, a little bit more structured, but also a lot more time freedom to go out and meet people, which was huge. But used to take the bus from my small little side room in Fairmount to Old City, and we were talking about guerrilla marketing a little bit. I made this orange box, and it said, on one side, don't be a sucker. And then on the other side, it said, get your credit repaired. It was full of blow pops, and each blow pop had my cards stuck to it.
No way.
And up and down on the bus, I would pass these out.
That's awesome.
I would stop at City Hall, and where the escalator comes up at City Hall, I would stand at the top, even though you're not supposed to, and hand them out right there.
Dude, I love that.
We advertised in the free Metro newspaper, and that's like, just stuff like that was enough to, especially in that time, I was lucky to find credit repair because everybody's credit was shot at the time.
Yeah, good timing.
Yeah.
You guys deal with so many different businesses. What's the one thing that you come across with these small businesses that they aren't doing but should be doing when it comes to marketing or trying to get their, voice or message out there? What do you guys what do you see and what do you recommend?
I would say, not giving the world more of an insight into who you are as a person versus just, what you got going on with your business. I think it's really important to, not keep your business a secret. You're doing the work anyway. You might as well be documenting it. You might as well be letting the world know about it.
Like an inside look, right?
Yeah.
Not just, on the periphery.
Yep, totally. And, a lot of people are camera shy and don't want to do videos. And, that's a huge part of, letting the social media world know about it. But I think the sooner business owners realize that marketing and social media is just part of the job, like the better, because it's like you can't even negotiate that. You need to be,
Well, that's why I say we're in an age now where it used to be if your business doesn't have a website,
right,
you don't exist.
Right.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of like
storefront. Yep.
If you don't have that presence on social or that active social voice,
Google search.
Yep.
Kind of don't exist,
That's true. That is very true.
Yeah. We say it like, if your website or your social media profiles haven't been, active in a while, it looks like your storefront's closed. It looks like you're closed for business. So it's like, if you're active every day, it looks like the lights are on, things are on the up and up, whether they are or not, perception is reality, and you just got to.
And it's a validation type of thing where you get a recommendation, go talk to this person for this service.
Yep.
Okay, I'll go online, go to Instagram.
Right. Yep.
They haven't posted since like 2024.
Yeah. Right.
There's that immediate thought that, Skip, like I'm going to the next person. It's definitely like a negative kind of, connection that people are going to make with a business.
Yeah, definitely. It is social credibility. It's almost like a resume. You just want people to, see what you do, day in, day out, and not the same stuff every day. Like everybody, has a different business. Everybody's in a different industry, but at the end of the day, we're all marketers, and the sooner folks realize that that's a huge part of your business, the better.
That's what I say.
Yeah.
I say, I don't care what you do. I don't care what your profession is. You're in sales.
Yep. Exactly.
Whether you're selling a product, whether you're selling yourself as an employee to your employer, everything is sales.
Yep.
And you have to figure out a way to make whatever you're selling valuable to someone else.
Yep.
Right.
And people like to buy, they don't like to be sold. You know what I mean? So while you are selling, it's not, you know, are you ready to buy, sell, rent, invest every single day? Like that, nobody wants to hear that every single day. You know, you want people to subliminally know that's what you do as a realtor, but you know, just giving them insights into the day-to-day walkthroughs and closings and business meetings and
is that
open
some of the
houses.
consultations you guys do with, you know, some businesses that don't have that?
Yeah, we do.
Like our in 60 segment?
Yes. So what we did for a couple of our Wolfpack clients that we have now, we went out, recorded what we called, like, for example, we have KC Cleaning and Maintenance. We call it KC in 60. And it's just little short reels, about 30 seconds, less than 90 seconds, just explaining what he does, for what does this company do, you know, what services they provide and how you can get in touch with them. Like just something as simple as that.
Yeah.
And it blows up because now it's like, okay, I don't just see KC Cleaning and Maintenance. Now I know who Joe Kennedy is, the owner.
Right.
I can connect with him.
There's like a
he's
soul
Northeast
to
guy.
it.
Yeah.
You know, there's like a face behind the name.
Yep.
And
Attachment.
first and foremost,
Person in business.
I friggin' love that blow pop story.
Okay.
Because this is like, hey, if we can give tips and hacks and tactics like to people, like boots on the ground, like that's what it takes. And back then, when you and I were really trying to find our way through the business world, like the economy sucked. Like we were talking about this on a recent episode. Remember, like everyone was losing their job. And when they did, they're like, where am I going to go work? Like they were literally finding work on Craigslist because they had to like think outside the box. It isn't about, you know, going to LinkedIn and like formally putting my resume in and like going in a shirt and tie and one of 20 applicants for a job. Like that didn't exist back then. People were like, maybe I'll just hustle. Maybe I'll start a business.
Reminds me of my my lawn signs.
The guerrilla Mooney marketing.
The only like opportunities that were coming to me after graduating from college was like life insurance sales and financial planning, where I would go into these cattle call interviews full of people in this room, you know, just seeing all the money that you can make and everything like that. But before they even like consider you for employment, you got to give them your mom's like black book of all her contacts and stuff like that. My mom did nothing but the best for me, and she wanted to do anything she could to help me. But she said, "Josh, I can't do that. I can't give you Aunt Patsy's phone number and have like." And it was like, okay.
What do you mean, Mom? Come on, don't you love me?
$100,000.
Aunt Patsy needs help.
God. Could be a VIP life insurance.
I was gonna watch this like,
oh, that's great. Excuse me.
So that didn't go.
Yeah. But I thought I made it to like I went through a bunch of them, and I thought I found like the golden egg with Prudential at the time, like going through all these corporate. I made it through the third interview and everything like that, and it came to that. And no, she made a good point. I wasn't happy at the time, but I get it now, you know. But
it makes sense now. Yeah.
All right, so here's a good one. How'd you guys meet? I'm gonna go to Beth on this one. How'd you guys connect? I'm assuming it wasn't in Thailand.
No, it's not in Thailand.
Excuse me.
Similar to Josh, so I was working in hospitality. So I worked at a couple bars in the city, you know, back and forth. I went on Craigslist and found a job at Ray Street Cafe. So I started working there. Down the street is Patty's Pub. So like that was my pub I would go to all the time. And I was working a lot there, so I would always get done work and go grab a drink. And every time I'd get done, there's this guy just sitting in the bar with his laptop, like a little bar.
He's got a blow pop in one hand, beer in the other.
Always had a Heineken, maybe a blow pop, but he always had his laptop, and he's just like in the zone, just like by himself, just listening, playing music on the jukebox. And I asked my friend at the bar, I'm like, who's this guy? Like, what's his deal? She's like, oh, that's Josh Buchter. That's the Wolf of Broad Street. I'm like, what the hell is that? Like, I'm just like, all right, that's pretty
name.
cool. Like, what's he do? She's like, I think like real estate or something. So I'm like, all right. Finally, I got the courage. I walked over and introduced myself, and there
she pushed up.
We went from there.
That's right. I love it.
It's just like, this guy's like really intriguing. Like,
you're like, I gotta find out more. Like,
he's got his laptop working in the bar, like always doing his thing, like never stopping.
That's
so
cool.
I just found that to be like
not every day.
Well,
close enough.
Just about.
Nice. Awesome. I love it.
And so you guys met, and then how did it kind of parlay into...
How'd you start working together? Because this is not common. You know, it's not the most common thing for a couple to start a business together and feed off of each other, like different skill sets, different lanes, things like that. So how'd that come to be?
So I have a background in communication. So like I absolutely love, communicating, networking with people, which is why I love bartending so much because, I was meeting people every day. And at the time, Josh was running Real Producers Magazine, I think just Philadelphia at that time. And I would come out to his events and help him with it. And I loved, seeing what he was doing in the real estate world, connecting these realtors, highlighting the top producers. Like I thought all of it was great. So I started working less at the bar and getting more involved. And then when we got Bucks County, it was like, okay, let's really do this together. And at the same time, we were always still doing Wolf of Broad Street real estate events outside of Real Producers. So eventually it just like made more sense for me just to go full in with, Wolf of Broad Street real estate events. And we were running the magazines for a long period of time. And now we're just full WOBs,
Bartender hours they can be crazy,
Yeah, so I couldn't juggle that anymore. So
that's like, hard. You can do very well. And you can meet lots of people. There are a lot of people who are either in like the restaurant, like serving industry or the bartending service industry that work their way either into sales, like whether it's finance, real estate, insurance, because it's a similar skill set. But you just made a really good point that I was actually going to bring up. My next question was talk about Real Producers Magazine. So you and I met, we're networking, you're always involved in the real estate community. Then I get one of these magazines at my office in Center City one day, Real Producers Magazine, and you're like all over it. Like, this is Josh. And like, you're interviewing like Sky Michaels and like all these heavy hitters. What's up, Sky? And I remember like reading it. I'm like, this is awesome. Like, how did that happen?
Yeah, I mean, it took me about 6 months to ramp up the magazine to go to print. I got the opportunity from a friend in Orlando, Florida, who was running Orlando Real Producers. And if you don't know, Real Producers is a franchise. So there's about 110 magazines across the country.
Oh, wow.
He saw what I was doing in Philly with the Wolf of Broad Street real estate events. I had been doing Wolf of Broad Street for about 3 years prior to Real Producers. So I was already doing the events, which is a big component of the business model of Real Producers. He suggested I look into it. I actually met Aaron Luden from Orlando on Wolf of Broad Street Business in Orlando, Florida, representing the home team mortgage, doing an event at the Blue Martini. So I met him at the Blue Martini at a networking real estate event down there that I was a part of. So I'm an opportunist. I keep my ears open for opportunities. I thought I had so much going on with Wolf of Broad Street and juggling 3 jobs. At that time, I was doing better qualified credit repair, surety title insurance, and TCS management, apartment listings.
I
so
that.
I had 3, companies I was working for, 3 bosses, 3 sales meetings. And I flew out to Chicago to meet with the publisher of Real Producers and went through the training. And that 6 months of ramping the magazine up was unpaid. You have to get to a certain point of profitability before you can go to print. Took me 6 months to do that. And we finally did go to print May of 2019. And it was a great experience. Stuck with Real Producers for 5 years. 3 years into it, picked up Bucks County Real Producers. So now it was 2 magazines. But the interesting thing about the transition was those 3 companies that I was working for advertised with me in Philadelphia Real Producers Magazine. And I was able to get out of those roles and now start selling more and more ads,
The relationships don't go away.
Yeah, exactly. There's about 18,000 licensed real estate salespeople in Philadelphia County.
How many there are now?
There used to be a few years ago. It's probably a lot less now, but there's tens of thousands of real estate industry or agents, not to mention all the affiliates
all
and
the burbs and everything.
But yeah, it was good. The magazine went to the top 500 agents. We made a ton of people happy, and like our motto back then, or at least mine was like, I don't do it for me, I do it for y'all. This is going to get me somewhere. And, we might bring in $20,000 to $30,000 in ad revenue through the magazine, but after everything's paid from the franchise and all the production fees and all the staff and everything like that, you just have to sometimes start being a little bit selfish and saying, okay, we're making a lot of people happy. The events are awesome. We did Rivers Casino Philadelphia Awards Gala and the Buck Hotel and Philmont Country Club and all these things. And we did good, but at the end of the day, April of last year, we decided to not renew our franchise agreement with Real Producers. No regrets about it. And life has been like a lot better since.
That's great.
I mean? Yeah.
I love it. Hey, everyone. This is Tim, your favorite Bricks and Risk co-host. But don't tell Sean. I hope you're enjoying this episode, and I'll get right back to it in a moment. Our audience grows through word of mouth, so if you would please take a moment of your time and give us a review on the platform you're on, that would be fantastic. Please also help spread the BNR word by sharing your favorite episode with a friend. We greatly appreciate your time and trust. Now, back to the show.
Where did the Wolf of Broad Street, like, what is that?
I
Like,
knew that question was going to come from you. I just knew it.
The profile, the moniker.
You have to
like,
tell them all, like, where you at, where you thought of it, everything.
It was
it's
actually down the
relevant.
block,
Yep.
believe it or not.
Pitcher's Pub.
Pitcher's Pub. Yep.
Yo,
Yeah.
Pitchers. Shout out to
Yeah,
Pitchers.
yeah, yeah.
We're in Manioc right now.
Yeah, I lived in Manioc for a couple of years. Pitchers was one of my go-to places.
Were you at,
Great
did you
bar.
bring
I was
the
at-
laptop to Pitchers?
I think I was just
Or was that a laptop?
I was just on my
free?
phone. I was
Yeah.
on my phone. I was looking for a better Instagram handle. I had just seen Wolf of Wall Street, which is one of my favorite
Yep.
movies. My Instagram handle at the time was something lame like JBuck215.
Yes.
And I changed, and I saw Wolf underscore of underscore.
Yeah, I like the 215 for sure.
Yeah. That's my birthday, February 15th.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
see, it's like, it's got double meaning.
I will never forget that.
Yeah,
It's going to
we
be
always know now.
embedded in my head.
But the Instagram handle, Wolf underscore of underscore broad underscore street, was wide open. I took it and I built a business off of an Instagram handle, basically. You know what I mean? Just being originally from Philly, my birthday being 215, that being my favorite movie, getting busy at all these Philly events. It just kind
And
of
like, what was it? Like, all right, so you changed the Instagram handle,
yeah.
and it's like, was it like an instant, like, whoa?
Nah, I think I still get the same reaction as back then. It's a clever name. It's Philly centric.
Yeah.
You know, it's catchy, and definitely wouldn't be where I am without the name. You know, so it just stuck. You know, yeah,
You would be where you are, but
maybe
It'd be like,
wouldn't be as cool.
You know what's funny? It brings up a random point. What was your fictitious name for where we shoot the podcast?
215 Labs.
215 Labs.
215
Like
Labs.
it. In the
It's not a
lab.
real
It's not
thing.
a
We
thing.
actually
Yeah,
we
yeah,
shoot
yeah.
at Young
Yeah.
Junk. Shout out to Dylan
Yeah.
Terror because they're the best.
So yeah, are you going to 215 Labs
Yeah.
today?
Of course, I'm in the lab.
Yeah. Totally
Awesome.
makes sense.
All right, cool. So one question we asked is like, what do you love most about what you do? And you guys had said connecting people and watching business relationships flourish into lifelong friendships.
Yep.
So why do you love that part of business?
Well, I guess for an example I want to put out there is one of our current clients, Missy Murray with State Farm. Shout out, Missy.
Shout out.
Missy.
We had done one of those segments for her, Missy and 60. And all we did was put a camera in front of her, let her roll. And it broke her out of her shell because now she's doing videos and content all day, every
awesome.
day. And people are coming up to her and they're like, wow, we saw your Missy and 60 video. Like, you're incredible. And she always calls like, you guys are the best because you helped
that's
me.
great.
So things like that make my day and make what we do worthwhile, you know, like being able to help our clients and help people that we know get their feet on the ground, become connected, you know, provide them with whatever resources we can. It means a lot. It goes a long way.
But even further than that, like
Yeah.
it wasn't like you just
Yeah,
did
well,
this thing,
right.
right?
Yeah.
Like you literally changed the way that she looked at like advertising or marketing and said, oh, look at what happened with this.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
completely.
now she's able to incorporate that into her business
Completely.
and like
Mm-hmm.
have such a deeper impact.
Yeah, she's had like real estate offices are calling her. They want her to come and present to their office about insurance and things. And I'm just like, Missy, that's
Wow.
all you. Like,
That's awesome.
you know, we're just here to help. So,
We've
Is
had
she on TikTok?
oh, I gotta get her on TikTok.
Yeah, you
now she's
gotta
not
get her
on
on
TikTok,
Tik-
and she loves TikTok.
She was born for TikTok.
Yeah. Yeah, and then, you know, the dollars and cents of connections is incredibly valuable. Like
Yeah.
we've connected, you know, mortgage bankers with realtors who earn $60,000, $70,000 a year in their pocket just off of the introduction to that realtor in
Wow.
multiple states now,
Yep.
you know, for example. When you don't have any resources or any money, you know, that's how you get places is sweat equity and just connecting people, keeping your ears
Connecting.
open, listen more than you speak, and just trying to, you know, see what dots need to be connected and where it can go and what will come back from that. You know, it's very easy to do. A lot of people overthink things, but it'll get you places for sure.
Yeah.
Connecting is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, I started a networking group from scratch. This was probably, this has got to be like 12 years ago or so.
I still have the business card.
The Northwest Philadelphia network. So
Yep.
it was all based around here.
Mhm.
And literally Craigslist, shout out to Craigslist again.
Yeah.
I threw a little blurb on Craigslist and said, hey, anyone in the Manioc Roxborough area want to get together for coffee? I'm going to be at this coffee shop. And I think I would say we're going to do it after work. So I'll be hyped up after work. And 2 guys showed up.
Yep.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I met these 2 guys. I'm like, hey, I'm in real estate. This is what I'm doing. This is what I want to do with this.
Yep.
Talk for like a half hour. Like, okay, let's do it again in a month.
Yep.
And everyone has to bring one more person.
Mhm.
Yep.
And it can't be in
Nice.
any of the fields that we're in.
Nice.
So it's got to be 1 per field.
Yep.
Because we bring 3 realtors in, it's not going to work out
Yep.
really well.
Right.
3
Right.
finance,
Yeah.
people, whatever, 3 roofers.
Yep.
So, and then it just started taking off from there. And Sean was a part of it too with his insurance business. And at one point it grew to like 30 paying
Wow.
members.
Wow.
So it wasn't a lot,
Mhm.
but we were charging a monthly fee.
Yep.
And we would take that money and literally dump it back into the group. Like we would
Mhm.
set up a table at like a street festival.
Mhm,
And we would
mhm.
like give to a charity.
Website.
Yep.
Website. We
Mhm.
did, holiday parties. Like we did all this stuff, and it was
Yep.
all just through business. And I will say, like, I've always found that to be a very good way to like build your business. But that's a lot of that's like my personality too.
Mhm.
But to your point, we would get these people into the group that saw the value of the group, but you could see this was like not their personality. And one thing I did like toward the end is I would like go to each business individually. And I'd say, okay, this month you get the floor for like 15 to 30 minutes. It can be informal, or you can have a presentation on a TV if you want, however you want to do it.
Yep.
And you're going to talk about your business,
Mhm.
why you're good at what you do, and why everyone in the group should know more about it. Because again, you're having all these loose conversations. Hey, I do this, I do that.
Yep.
Maybe you got better relationships than others. And yeah, we got people up there that were like completely uncomfortable.
Yep.
And I remember even like after, like, that felt good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was like, good.
Yep.
But that takes time. It's like
Yeah.
people got to feel comfortable. There has to be trust. And
Yep.
one of the things we've
Absolutely.
talked about on the show, which is not mine at all, but I've heard it over and over, is know, like, and trust.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
first you got to get to know someone.
Yep.
Then you figure out if you like each other. Okay, cool. We're vibing together.
Mhm.
But you gotta be involved in that person's life, business, personal, and or both for a
Mhm.
while before you can trust each other.
Yeah.
And a lot of that comes from like, I got my cousin. My cousin needs insurance. My cousin needs marketing for their
Mhm,
small
mhm,
business.
Yep.
And then they go to you and they're like, awesome connection.
Yep.
Mhm.
Thank you for hooking me up with Josh and Beth. Like, it's been amazing. Like, my business is growing. Or thank you for connecting me with Sean. And when you can connect people,
Mhm.
which is what I was getting to here, it's
Yep.
very long-winded. When you can connect people, it is like a quadruple
Oh, yeah.
win.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
everyone, the connector wins. Both
Mhm.
businesses
Mhm.
win. Like the service wins. And
Yep.
it's just, and it creates like almost like this ripple effect
Yep.
Mhm.
where everyone wants to do that now. Because if everyone won, they're like, oh man, maybe I'll connect someone with
Yeah.
Josh,
Uh-huh.
with Sean, with Tim,
Yep.
with Beth, with whoever. So that's
If you're
fantastic.
at the helm of bringing everybody together through an event, like the guests and the registrants are going to like almost do the work for you. You know, your name's
Yep.
going to be buzzing through these 30 people or 300 people or whatever it is. They're going to thank you for bringing them together. You're going to be the first one that they go to when they need your services. And yeah, it's just like activity creates activity. So the more you can not only bring people together at the 3-hour event, but for 3 weeks or 3 months leading up to the event, promote it and have something to talk about and have something to, invite folks to.
Yep.
It's a great way to get past the gatekeeper at different offices, to say, I'm not here to sell you anything or to drop off donuts. I just have some flyers here. It's a free happy hour. Your whole office is invited. Hope you can make it. It's just a really easy way to, get the, the guard down of,
Mhm.
different organizations that you're trying to reach. And it's a data game. So like, every event you get the guest list and the registration list and you're adding them to your databases.
Yep.
You know what I
It
mean?
just
And
grows a little
yeah,
bit over
Mhm.
time.
we have over 15,000
Wow.
real estate
Yeah.
industry professionals in our database.
Wow.
Yep.
That's amazing.
I got a question.
Yep.
Yeah.
Walking away from the magazine.
Yep.
Can you talk about that? Because hearing it, I'm
Yeah.
like, man,
Yeah.
this really was like
Yeah.
the start
Yeah.
for Josh.
Yep.
And having to make a business decision
Yep.
about leaving that behind and starting a new chapter
Yep.
for you guys.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, we're talking about being business owners, and you are a business owner as a franchise owner, but
Yep.
to a certain extent, you can begin to feel boxed in
Yeah.
or limited to what you can do. And you start hearing things like, you're off program, or we need to do a meeting about this or that.
It's more of a business in a box.
But
the box has dimensions to it.
Yeah,
You can't really go outside the box.
Yep. It's ad sales, physical magazines. It's not an easy business. There's a lot of objections to it. There's so many positives to that business model, and it works great throughout the country, but you got to do what's best for you at the end of the day. And when you see that 5 years in, you're not where you want it to be, and you see that how it's constantly you take 10 steps forward and then there's 8 steps back, and then you're just like constantly like that up and down, and not as steady as you want to be. I'm not the best ad salesman. I'm not a good ads man. You know what I mean? Like, we do marketing, we sell ads, but these are monthly commitments 4 or 5 times higher than what we're charging now, and we're making more money now than we were. So you got to be selfish sometimes. You really just got to do what's best for you and your family, and don't burn any bridges, and don't have any regrets.
There are no regrets.
No,
absolutely.
just take all those lessons and contacts and experiences. Like, we would have never hosted a 250 person black tie awards gala at Rivers Casino Philadelphia. Like, we were doing Wolf of Broad Street real estate events before the magazine, but it took us to a totally new level. Our first Wolf of Broad Street event in 2016 was at the Bridge, Philly, 100 Spring Garden Street, next to Delilah's and Z Bar.
Right.
We started at a dive bar. You know what I mean? So,
Dill, can we clip up a picture and
Yes,
drop
please.
that in?
Yes, please.
It's now my dry cleaner, so it's not the bar anymore. But I still live in the neighborhood. It's my dry cleaner.
I love that.
But from a personal, like business, it's easy, right? Like, okay, the numbers aren't here, not where we wanted to be.
Yep.
And so when you look at it on paper, you say, okay, like, but personally, when you kind of built this up and built it on the back of the magazine to kind of make that decision, was it a hard one, or was it?
It was a thought out.
Yeah, we had to think about it.
We had a plan. We had a business plan sketched on a CVS coupon.
I saved it.
We still
the
have
ones
it.
that are like 8 miles long.
Yeah.
You walk out of there.
We
This is
went
one
to
of the square
Kavanaugh's,
ones.
we sat there.
Yeah.
All I had on me was the CVS receipt, and I was like, this is our plan.
It was a coupon thing,
The
yeah.
coupon, and we wrote it all out, and we're
At
like,
another
we're
great
gonna
bar.
do
What
it.
bar was that? That was Kavanaugh's head house. Yeah.
Shout out to Cavs.
Yep. We did it. We laid low, how it can be. And then we, at the right time, were able to drum up a lot of support from people that followed us through the magazines, and
or even the partners we had at the time. When we let them know we were letting it, we were going to be putting it down. They were very supportive.
That's
awesome. The amount of support we got was
because it was you guys.
It's the relationship.
They were doing
The
business
relationship
with us,
trumps, the business. Which again, so this kind of segues
and
into,
to not have to worry to not have to worry about deadlines and managing 2 magazines and 50 partners and all. It was so much
more on your terms
and answering to ourselves now. Not having to answer
feeling
to
like
someone
actual
else.
business owner.
It's nice. All the people you've been helping.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's awesome. All right, so this segues really well into biggest struggle, which is one of the questions we ask, because again, it's nice to talk about successes, but it's also good to talk about like what are the things that haven't worked that we've learned from.
Yep.
And you guys had said events can be risky and an expensive business, and financing them can be stressful. So why has it? You still run events, so that's got to be continue to be a struggle. Why has that been a struggle, not only through like the magazine, but today with Wobbs?
It's like if money was no object and we didn't have to worry about how to pay the tab at the end of these events, like it would be such an easy cakewalk business. You know what I mean? Whether we get enough sponsor commitments or not, we're responsible for that. Luckily, we win a lot more than we lose, but we definitely have taken a lot of L's through events. It is risky, and it does depend on the economy sometimes. I don't make excuses, but I mentioned the Home Team Mortgage. At one point, when the economy was good, committed to $5,000 a quarter for Wolf of Broad Street events, $20,000 in a year. Like, those are the good times, you know what I mean? But then there's other times where people are tight and they don't want to spend money on marketing and sponsorships when they 100% should be. You got to get creative. You have to scale back some events and some features, and just try to be smart about the numbers with these events, because it could set you back a lot.
Love it.
Spot on.
Awesome. So, and a tip you guys gave for our listeners and watchers was let them see you work. You're doing the work anyway, might as well document it. You had mentioned that already on this. Why does that resonate?
I have been thinking more and more selfishly. I've said selfish a few times today,
That's all right.
but when you think about it selfishly and you allow yourself to do it for yourself and nobody else, like don't worry about how many people are going to click or how many people are going to like or view your video. But when you're, God willing, like 80 years old and you want to scroll back and look at your life, it's all right there. You want to document it. You want to see what you were up to. And if you do it for yourself and you have fun with it and you don't have anxiety and, you know, stress too much about putting it out there, it makes it more enjoyable. And like I said, do it for you, do it for your legacy and your
take that photo at the coffee shop, whoever you're meeting with, you know, let people see you're actively out there. You can tell me, but if I don't see it,
it matters.
I don't believe you.
Well, and here's where that goes. Someone sees that shout out to the coffee shop and then they check it out and they're like, oh, they got 4.8 out of 5 stars on Google reviews and they have 500 reviews. I'm going to get coffee from there. So it's like, it does, it really all connects.
Yes.
And I was actually on a Zoom yesterday with another real agent, someone who's new. And, you know, I led Copper Hill Real Estate for a while. I was more in charge of like the agents and training and mentoring. And I'd met this woman. She's great. I met her at an event and I said, look, if you need like a half hour, you want to bounce some marketing ideas off of me, bounce them off of me. So I Zoomed with her yesterday and literally like, it was awesome because, and there's no money involved. I'm just trying to help her out. And I'm just like, you know, what kind of person are you? You know, I don't like to drink. I'm actually, you know, I'm on this Facebook group where there's 20,000 people and we're all like non-alcoholic. And I'm like, awesome. So we like started talking about that. And then we're done after a half hour. I'm like, you know what? Like, just go be yourself. Like with your social media, you know, some of it has to be business because people have to understand what you're doing. You have to be credible. You can't just all be like, oh, it's all this, it's all that. And they're like, well, why would I work with you? But then you have to show people the authenticity, the realness in your life so that they can relate to you. Because you had mentioned tribe earlier. If they don't want to be a part of your tribe, they're not going to like your shit or follow you anyway. And that's completely fine because you probably don't want to work with them either. But if they see that side of your life and they're like, oh, I totally relate to, I love that coffee shop or whatever. The fact that you were hustling on your laptop at a bar and meeting Beth through that, like, you know, that relates to people. And then they're going to come to you and they're going to say, how do I do stuff with you? How do we do stuff together? And how do we like build something together? And that is literally like the greatest feeling. Like when you can connect with people and connect them to others and everyone's doing well, it's like, not only are we all cool with each other, but we're all rising our businesses like together. It's a lot of fun.
Beth's a great cook. She likes to make cooking videos. You know, that's like
Thai food.
Not yet.
You're like, I don't eat the real stuff, Tim.
Some of our best videos are travel videos. You know, just again documenting what you're doing. You know what I mean?
People don't always have to see the work. Like they want to know that you're a real human being. They want to know you're dropping your daughter off at your practice and you're doing these different activities.
Beard competition.
Yeah, exactly. Have you won any, by the way?
Oh, talk about it.
I made the top 5.
It was like a Gillette thing,
it was Wall USA. The Clippers.
I voted, by the way.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. But made it top 5 nationally.
Wow.
Yep. I didn't win first place, but funny enough, like the charity that we support, Little Smiles, made out good.
So the charity got $500 just for him getting placed into the
that's
top 5.
cool.
You got a check for $1,000. Also, some cool clippers came in the mail, and then the winning prize would have been $20,000, and then $1,000 to the charity. But Josh didn't win that, but they did reach back out.
I thought it was over. It was cool. But end of April in Manayunk, the Manayunk Street Festival, Street Eat Festival, they wanted to do a mobile barber event at the Street Eat Festival, which is going down, and it's going to be in collaboration with Wolf of Broad Street. They're going to give us another check. They're going to give us like all this exposure.
No way.
And the charity Little Smiles is going to benefit too. It's I think it's $100 per beard trim. The beard trims are free.
Dude, that's awesome.
And then we can earn up to $10,000 for that.
Yeah.
$10,000 for the charity. So
I better start growing a beard.
Our retirement's a beard.
A real beard, not this little wussy stuff.
No, we need everything. That's fine.
Listen, with all that being said, you might have to insure that beard.
Yeah, okay, we should
That's
talk.
true.
Just saying.
He's like, I insure beards daily.
Okay.
Put that in my
So
portfolio.
everyone knows.
But I will go back. But what you guys were saying before, just before that, was I saw a Gary V video. You see Gary V? And he's like, document the process. And there was a guy, I forget what his business was, and they were like, Gary, we want to hire you to do this. And the whole thing, he's like, no, don't hire me.
Yep.
Hire 2 people to follow you around and just do a constant every single day, get that video content online.
Yep.
And I think that's what you guys are saying is like, show a little bit about yourself, show about your personality, incorporate that into the business so people know who they want to work with and find your tribe that way.
Yeah. I would suggest just like, shooting for doing it every day, but don't say this is my daily video or hey, here.
Well, you don't need to post it either.
Yeah,
just get in the rhythm of like, just taping yourself and just put that, don't need that one and just pick and choose.
Absolutely.
Like,
have a library of content. Yeah. Yeah. We go on Sundays, we'll scroll through our photo libraries and see what we can piece together or stuff that may have slipped through the cracks. So there's always stuff to post about.
I love it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Cool. And the quote you guys gave us was, the lesson is in the struggle, not in the victory. Do you know who said that by any chance?
I believe it's anonymous.
Okay.
Yeah. I came across that a long time ago. I might be wrong, but when I first saw it, it said anonymous on it, But I think a lot of people can relate that the majority of life, like for most people, is like struggle. It's a lot of struggle. And there's beauty in the struggle. You have to appreciate the struggle. You have to you have to live in the moment, you know what I mean? And it might not always be like ice cream and puppies and all that, you know what I mean?
A great moment.
Yeah. So a lot of lessons in the struggle, a lot of beauty in the struggle, and it makes like the wins that much better by getting there, but you have to appreciate every single day that you got. Like
and stay consistent.
Yeah.
This
day.
reminds me, the Super Bowl we just had.
This reminds you of Glass Half Empty Mooney?
Yes.
Okay.
It resonates. They interviewed AJ Brown.
Yeah.
And AJ Brown. AJ Brown.
AJ Brown.
Yeah.
Keep going.
And they said, how do you feel? And he's like, it's kind of a letdown. And he's like, he's like, I love it because of my everyday practice. Like, I love the practice. I love the workout. And he was expecting this like overwhelming feeling about winning. And it was like, like, let's go back to work. Because his love and his passion was in the work, not like the victory.
It's funny. So the episode we just dropped this morning, our 60-second, was about talking about realtors, who talk about volume, and realtors who just talk about their business. Like, my business is profitable, I'm doing well. And I had said on the podcast, because I was listening to it today, I was like, man, that was a little rough. But I said, do you know what you get when you get to the top of the mountain? Like in real estate, you get a piece of acrylic, you get 5 minutes of fame, and it's over. Like, that's what you get. And then you're like looking at this thing, you're like, okay, now what am I doing? Am I going to be bigger than last year? Do I stay the same? Do I shrink? Like, what do I do?
Next year, I want 2 pieces of acrylic.
But the glass half empty or glass half full Garrity moment in that is, do you know how much struggle went into getting that piece of acrylic, or AJ Brown winning the Super Bowl, like Saquon, like all that stuff, like that matters. They struggled their whole lives to themselves. Like, they may be wealthy and be doing something that they love, but that was all to win a Super Bowl. Like, that's where you want to get. And it's like, there's only so many people that are going to be able to do it. And looking back on it, they're probably like, thank God I did that when I was 10 or when I was 20 or when I was whatever. And I resonate with that as well. I think you got to fail in order to succeed. So that's,
hopefully we have a lot more consistent Super Bowl wins.
Right. Yeah. We could be at the start of something, but hey, we're all from Philly, so we got chill. We don't talk trash.
I saw like,
we don't puff out our chest.
Jalen Hurts and Daniels from Washington were like, he was like 1 year older or something. And so like, as much as you think this young kid on the scene is like going to have all these years, you're like, wait, no, Jalen Hurts is like super young.
Yeah,
very young.
24, 23.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Awesome. Well, before we shut this one down, why don't you share with our listeners and watchers more about you and everything they can learn about what you got going on?
Wobbs.
Sounds good. Yeah, I would encourage everybody to check out our website, wolfpackdirectory.com.
Okay.
We also have our main website where you can find all the events, which is wolfofbroadstreet215.com. So go there to check out all of our upcoming events. We do all types of events from coffee shop buyouts to our 6th annual golf outing coming up this year to revamp your image, where it's like, you know, not your typical headshot event, coming through and getting lifestyle photography and 360 photo booths and all this fun stuff to be like a content creating machine. So lots of awesome events, lots of opportunities to help folks with their marketing. And what else?
Socials,
LED
where-
billboard, LED billboard
yeah,
trucks. You know, if anyone out there is interested in a free consultation, just give us a call at 267-303-1175.
Yep.
Both of our emails are going to be Josh at wolfofbroadstreet215.com and Beth at wolfofbroadstreet215.com.
Yep. And Instagram, Wolf of Broad Street with an underscore in between each word.
Love it. Awesome. Well, appreciate you guys coming
Thanks
out.
so much
Thank
for the
you so
opportunity.
much.
This is great.
And that's all we have for this one, folks. Thank you for tuning in again to another episode of Bricks and Risk. See you soon.
Peace.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of Bricks and Risk. Our goal is that you walk away with 1 or 2 valuable nuggets, and we greatly appreciate you sharing your time with us today. You can find all B&R episodes on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, and anywhere else you get your podcast content. Until next time, keep learning and keep growing.